I'm in between the collection of notes of C. I'm kind of playing in G Dorian and G minor, if you're interested. And I'm just hanging out on this G string. All right. So I'm gonna try. I'm really gonna try to do the work here because I had some noodling days. So I'm kind of feeling like, okay, I got to get back to like the grind, man. Even though it's kind of like vacation time, but I'm kind of what I'm gonna do this time is I'm thinking I'm gonna analyze the top strings. I don't normally do. I had a thought when I was trying to sleep, which was kind of annoying because I was trying to sleep and I had a thought. I was like, dude, I'm trying to sleep. But then I was like, no, maybe I should think about this because this is interesting. So I was like, what I should analyze is like the top, the open string. So now I'm thinking, so I'm going to be thinking same collection of notes like we're in E, like blues, but we have an open string up top and down below. So then maybe instead of just analyzing the chord, I'll look at each string that's closest to it, like the string right underneath it, and analyze where the major notes are, like the from a scale degree standpoint, the third, the fifth, the seventh. Those are going to be the major three, and then what the differences are if I look at it from this perspective of the collection of notes versus if the E was an E minor, in which case that same node will now be node number 6, which means it's an Aeolian node. And then if I was to look at it from a Mixolydian, in which that E node will now be a Mixolydian node number 5. And that way I can map out, like if I was gonna like noodle up the string, just try to think about that more cleanly, like where's the third related to that top note that I can kind of smear to, and then where is it on the bottom string? Same thing on the bottom, because now the bottom string, it's you know, where if I'm going to think about the open string as my root down here, where's the third on the string above it, right? Because there's like 2 E's right here, so I should be able to use that open note and kind of it more effectively. Up here it's kind of muddy because that low string is so heavy. You can't really just, well, you can, but I usually do it on the A string. Maybe I can mute it just a little bit. Sounds like the Pulp Fiction thing. Getting into it now. I'm kind of into it now. Now I'm gonna, so that's what I'll do maybe. Unless I feel differently after the joke like I did yesterday. I totally gave a tease, and then I was like, nope, I'm not gonna do that. It was like a Disney, it's like a Disney maneuver of, I was subverting your expectations. Subverting your expectations, which is a technique that the movie industry uses to piss people off, as far as I can tell. Which I wouldn't think would be the best marketing strategy or way to storytell, but they were doing that. I don't know, what's it been, like 10 years now? 10 years. That's a horrible way to tell. Why don't you try to put together a series of events that have some kind of cohesion, because so that we have at least a chance of like guessing what happens, because stories are supposed to you're supposed to have a chance. That's part of the, anyway, I don't know. I'm going off the drama. This is just a pun on the wall thing, but this is like the English. I'm going to Britain, even though I don't know much about it over there, but it seems like they're having kind of similar kind of issues with like borders and whatnot, over there, and like who should they let in or something. And I think it still comes down to the analogy. We've got the idea of like on the conservative side of American politics, we got the idea that yeah, we need some kind of idea of limiting who comes in and out, but we still don't. Even if you have a wall, the problem is we don't have any idea of the intellectual wall, is the metaphor that's being used right now, in terms of, well, it doesn't matter if you have a wall if you don't know who you should open the door in the wall for and who you shouldn't, right? I mean, right? That's the problem. You can't just if you have a wall, but you still just you don't know who to let in or out, then you have a problem. Who do you let in? Well, it can't be just like a heritage thing in America. Maybe it could be that way in other countries because we're all immigrants here. So it has to be some kind of like what they think. What do they think? And I would think the normal things are like freedom, right? If they believe in freedom and whatever their belief system lines up to the Constitution, which is aligned around individual freedom, then it's more likely that you might let them into see. So there's multiple layers of this border analogy, right? You have an actual border, and then you have to think about the ideological idea of it so that you know when to let people into the ideological border so that you let them into the actual border. Otherwise, neither of the walls are effective, okay? So this is kind of the analogy here. Okay. So, historically, history has a fun way of teaching the same lesson twice. First, a tragedy, then a PowerPoint presentation no one reads. Take early Britain, for example. The Vikings show up in longboats, armed, organized, enthusiastic, and the locals say, relax, we've got defenses. We've got defenses. What are the defenses? Corn. Corn is apparently the defense. Literally, we have a corn wall. Don't worry, I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm a stupid American, but I'm assuming that the place called Cornwall was so named because they had a border wall that was made of actual corn, right? Now this, you would think there's a problem to this, right? I don't know if this is actual history. I'm kind of like reading into it a little bit based on the name there, but this is kind of what I'm thinking, right? So they have this corn wall, and they're gonna keep out the Vikings with it, you know. But they even named the place Cornwall, which sounds less like a fortress and more like a suggestion. Not only does the corn not stop an invading army, it feeds them, right? So part of it, like usually they have to like sit outside the walls and starve. So and then they have to leave after a while because you starved them out and they couldn't get in to your walls. But if you make the walls out of corn, what happens is they just kind of hang out by the wall, and they eat the corn wall until they get in. They just eat. They don't even need a trebuchet or anything. They just eat their way in, you know. And that's not a wall. That's like room service. The Vikings didn't need siege engines. They don't need the trebuchet back here, right? They could just eat. They just leaned back and chewed thoughtfully and said, "Take your time. We'll wait." Again, I'm just assuming with the Cornwall thing here. This might not be totally alignment with history, but I'm just saying, you get the idea. In fact, you fast forward that centuries into the current day, different outfits, you got the same logic now. Now it's not corn walls, it's no walls. We don't need no walls. We don't need no stinking walls. And even if we had walls, we would just open the doors up because we don't know what in the world would be the reason and why we would close the doors or when we would open the doors, because we have no idea what our ideology is anymore. So wide gates, welcome mats, you got budget cuts for anyone whose job description includes the word border. So the modern strategy seems to be, if we pretend this isn't happening, eventually it will become inclusive. And when people ask, hey, where did all the money go? Or why are the churches empty? Or why does every public service feel like it's running on fumes, for crying out loud? The answer is always the same. This is very complicated. Please stop noticing. Right? And I mean, so back then Britain learned that if you build defenses out of food, you don't get peace. You get guests who don't plan on leaving, you know? Today it's not that they forgot how to build walls. It's worse. They decided walls were rude. We wouldn't want to be rude. You know, I mean, it's so instead of defending territory, they import the pressure and then act shocked when the system collapses under the weight. History doesn't stutter. It doesn't repeat itself exactly. It just upgrades the script, changes the costumes, and waits patiently while we insist once again that this time will be different. Right up until the invaders are snacking and we're standing there saying, well, no one could have seen this coming. No one could have seen. How could we have predicted that the invaders would just sit next to the corn wall and eat their way through it instead of leaving? You know, I don't know. Okay, I might have took some liberties with the history there, but that's what I feel. It has something to do with what's going on here, I feel like. So I wrote a song about it. Let's see what it has. I haven't heard it yet. First impressions on the Cornwall song.
History's got a sense of humor, teaches lessons twice in time. First it hits you like a tragedy, then it shows up as a slide. Bullet points nobody's reading, clicking next through someone's fault. Same mistakes in newer fonts, same silence in the hall. Take a trip to early Britain, longboats scraping up the sand, Vikings looking well prepared, sharp steel shaking in their hands. Locals wave and smile politely, say, relax, we've planned it all. You're worrying for nothing, friend. We've got defenses, walls and all. So you ask them, all right then, what's the brilliant master plan? Yeah, corn, not stone, not steel, not iron strong. They built a border out of groceries and wondered why it didn't last too long. That's not a wall, that's dinner served. That's not defense, that's an open call. You don't stop an army with a pantry, you just invite them to stay a while. They even named a place Cornwall, sounds less fortress, more advice, like a helpful little sign that says invaders stop for snacks and rice. Didn't slow a single soldier, didn't make them hesitate, just turned sieges into picnics while the locals watched and waited. No engines, no catapults, no battering ram required. They leaned back, chewed the scenery, said take your time, we're not tired. Now fast forward through the centuries, different clothes, same point of view, same old logic, wearing newer suits, pretending it's something new. Now it's not corn stacked in rows, it's no walls anywhere, wide open gates and welcome mats, and fewer guards than chairs. No walls, no lines, cut the budget, call it kind. If pretending works long enough, maybe facts will change their minds. They say if we don't acknowledge it, it'll magically behave. Inclusive by denial, bold strategy, very brave. Then the questions start arriving, quiet first, then growing loud. Where'd the money disappear to? Why's the roof falling down? Why are churches standing empty? Why's the engine running dry? Why does everything feel fragile? how this happened now. Invaders eating comfortably, we're shrugging.
Wait a second. Alright, I'm gonna keep that. Alright. It went kind of folksy on that one, which I guess is appropriate for the theme. Almost like it went more like tavern, little, not really, but kind of, I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna say, so I'm gonna be on this collection. Let's start with this collection of notes. So now I'm gonna say this is Phrygian, but again, I'm gonna try to convert it to like a bluesy. Get this thing out of here. Get out of here. I'm gonna try to convert it to like a bluesy thing. So let's just analyze. So I'm gonna try to analyze this second string from there, right? So if I'm looking for the third, 3 minus 2 is 2 modal whole steps up from node number 3. So that would be 3, 4, 5. I'm looking for node numero cinco. So I have one up here. That's way up here in the 10th fret. So if I'm like Newland here and I want to find the third, it'd be way up here. Is that right? 3, 4. Yeah, that's right. Nodal point. And that would be the major third. So the minor third would be back here. So I'd have to, so if I want to go between the major and minor. Try to mute it a little bit. What about the 5? So it would be 5 minus 1 is 4. So if I'm starting from nodal point number 3, I could start at 4 as the bigger number. So let's say I'm going to go 4 and then up by the third step that I'm already on, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Wait. 4, 5, 6. Wait, I'm on 4. 4, 5, 6, 7. It's nodal point 7. So that would be here. Boom. Nodal point 7. So if I want to bring in the 5th, that's why this one 5th is right here. That's a power chord. That makes sense. What about the 7? 7 minus 1 would be 6. So if I'm on 6 and then I'm trying to go up another 3 because I'm on node number 3, so it'd be 6, 7, 1, 2, right? So because I'm going around the horn. So that would be Dorian. So that would be right here. Duh, Dorian is going to be right there. So that would be here. That's where the 7 is. Minor 7. 10 note away distance. Let's count those distances real quick. If I was talking the third, if I was saying it was the third, it should be 3 notes away. It's a minor third. So if I say there's 5 notes between the string 5, 6, 7, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's the repeat going back to 1. 12 minus 12 is 1. 1, 2, 3. That's why that's the third. And then if I look at the 5th, that should be 7. If I look at the 5th, that should be 7 notes away. 5, 6, 7, 7 notes away. If I look at the 7th, that should be 10 notes away. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so what about if I'm in the Mixolydian and I'm trying to do like between, if I'm trying to play between Mixolydian, the minor Mixolydian, but not the Aeolian, and then I'm going to switch that to basically the Mixolydian, going between major and minor, meaning the minor third to the major third with a minor 7 as my bass, then as my like bass 7 or my normal 7, not like the bass note. So then that would be, so that the thing that would be different here is going to be, let's make this one green, and is going to be this note, which is 1 note away. So if I play that down here, it's this one. That note right there is going to be different than if I was in A minor. If I was in A minor, it would be this note up here, right? So you could try to smear that one between the two. That would be more minor-ish if I was over here. But I have that one because this is more minor than the main minor. This node number 8 would be more Dorian-ish, right? So okay. So if I was to say, I have my 5th right there. Dorian's the 7. I'm back to the root. That's my double stop. There's the one that's outside, the weird one. And then this is going to be minor third to the major third. Second. 7, E major, E major 7. Now wait a sec. This I'm doing this the wrong way. This one I had. This is the minor third. It should be out here to the major third would be out here. Sorry about that. I was doing that all totally wrong. There, that makes more sense. Okay, let's try the other collection notes. I'm trying to add like the top note now, right? So if I'm right here, like that's like, this is like back to the root right here. Let's copy that, paste. Here's another root right here, so that's a double stop if I play the open string. And then this is kind of like if this was on the top string now, I have the same shape going this way as position 1. Right, but thinking about it from this string like down, so like if this was the top string on position 1 and that was my minor shape, I have my minor third right there pushing it out to the major third. I can add the top notes in there because I'm in the box right here. All right. Let's try to go to the next collection of notes. Let's say we're on E minor. So E minor, E minor. So same idea, but we're gonna do it over here. I'm gonna copy this green bit, copy that, bring it over here. All right, I'll pull that down. So now, I'm going to say now I'm in the collection of notes of E minor. If E minor was here, that means major would be here. So this would be position number 1 now. So now I'm in position number 1 here, whereas back here I was in position number 1 over here would be the collection of notes this way. So that would be back here. So now all I'm doing is shifting down this pattern so that now the Aeolian node is now the E to make it in the collection, right? So if I'm thinking about this as like a planet, the planet is rotating around the continents on the planet, 7 continents on the planet. You can't see my finger. I'm doing this. The 7 continents on the planet stay the same. As it rotates around, then it rotates around till continent number 6, Aeolian, is back over here, and then all the other continents have the same relative positions, right? Continent number 6 is back here. Now I'm thinking of it as note number E, but now it's continent number 6, Aeolian, right? So then what's the difference there? So let's count it out. So if Aeolian, the third of the Aeolian is 2 modal half steps up, because 3 minus 1 is 2, because the scale degrees are all off by 1 if you want to measure things like a normal person and not a weirdo that measures the note that you're on. Okay, only if you're a weirdo would you do that. We're all weirdos because we all do that, and I can't stop because that's how they built everything, but it's dumb. Okay, I'm sorry to be offensive, but I think they're bringing the word back, retarded. We're allowed to say retarded again. It's retarded. Okay, the way we do it is retarded. We should measure this way. We should measure by the note that you're on. So it's 2 modal whole steps up. So we're going to say it's going to be 6 plus 2 is going to be 6, 7, and then 1. So we're looking for the 1, Ionian. So it's over here. So that's going to be the first modal half step. 1 times 2 is the 2. A first modal whole step times 2 would be the second modal half step, plus 1 would be the third scale degree, which has a distance of 3 notes away. So there's 5 notes between the string, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, meaning back to the root. 12 times 12 minus 12 is 0 to bring the local distance 1, 2, 3. 3 notes away. If I want to do the bluesy thing, I'm going to smear that up to the 4 note away major third. What about the 5th? 5 scale degree distance, the retarded way to do it, minus 1 is 4 modal half steps up. So then we can say, okay, if I measured from node number 6, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, that would be nodal point number 3, the Phrygian continent. So that means nodal point number 3, the Phrygian continent, is the second modal whole step. Second, 2 times 2 is the 4th modal half step, plus 1 to get to the retarded 5th measurement tool scale degree, which has a distance of 7 notes away. So we're going to say 1, 5, 6, I better not say that word too much. They might ban it again at any time now. So I don't want to but whatever. They hate me anyways. They hate me. I'm telling you. So let's go with 7. What about the 7? 7 minus 1 is 6. So 6 modal half steps up from 6, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be nodal point number 5. Here, boom. And that's going to be, if we're looking for the 7th, it would be the 3rd modal whole step times 2 would be the 6th modal half step, plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree from a minor node, has a distance of 10 notes away. So it would be 5 notes between the string, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom, minor 7. Okay, what's the difference between an Aeolian that I'm going to smear the 3rd on to get to the major and the Dorian? The Dorian has that minor 2nd in it. So the Aeolian doesn't have a minor 2nd. So that means that the minor 2nd is kind of like the thing that's not different. From the it's the normal thing because looking at this collection of notes was the weird one from the Phrygian. So I'm going to say it has it. So so the normal minor 2nd would be that 7th. So there's a 7th right here. So that 7th would be the normal kind of distance. But if we were playing in a pentatonic framework, what the notes that we would be removing, we'd actually be removing the 7 and the 4 get removed. but I'm not going to remove them. I'm going to keep the 7 in there and the 4, and and that'll add some tension that you wouldn't have if you play just the pentatonic. So I'm just going to be mindful that those are the tension notes, because the 7 and the 4 have that tritone, that 6-note away distance, and also the 7 is too close to the 1 and the 3 is too close to the 4, so that also gives you tension. But they all should be working pretty good against the 6, because the 6 isn't in the box, so you don't have that right next to it tension like we did over here, because the 3 is in the box. So that means when I hit the 3 and the 4, which is Phrygian and Lydian at the same time, that's more tensiony than we should get over here if I play the major second, right? That's still going to give a little bit of tension, but it's not as bad as if it was in the box, because that 6 is not in the box. So everything should be cool with 6. Aeolian's cool with everyone, you know? That's, even though they say Aeolian's the dark guy, no, Aeolian's cool with everyone. The Ionian clashes with the 7, right? If you play it at the same time, but the Aeolian's like, got no worries. He's like, whatever, dude. So he's in the Aeolian. So that's the 3rd. So now I'm thinking that's the 5th, minor 7. And then I'm up here on the 10th fret. It'll be the 3rd. But I also have this 9th fret, which is the major second. Okay, let's compare that to then what if I thought about the same thing, but now I'm going to say this is the Aeolian, position number 1 is the Aeolian. Now I want to look at the position, I want to look at it from the Mixolydian. So that 6 needs to be the Mixolydian. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shape, which starts on the 10, right? You could think of that shape as shape number 5. It would be here, but I'm going to move it all the way back till this part of the shape is, the 5 is right there. So we're just rotating the globe, where all 7 continents remain the same and the oceans remain the same, all 5 oceans. But we go over here and boom, now the 5 is here. Okay. So let's get our colors right. Let's get the green over here and say, now I'm going to say, so what if I do the same thing, but I'm looking from this collection of notes? So if the 5 is what I'm on now, if that's my root, how do I know which collection of notes I'm in? I like to get back to my major to do that. So how do I get back to my major? 5, 6, 7, 1. So it'd be 3 modal half steps up, right? 3 modal half steps up would be +1 fourth scale degree, which has how many notes away for the 4th scale degree? 5 notes away. So it's going to be if the open is it, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be here. So Ionian should be on the A. There's the Ionian. So if that's the A and I put my pinky on it, I go back here. There's my minor. So that means position 1 now is right here. That's position numero uno, going from the minor to the majors, the minor position. Okay. So let's say we're on the 5. Now it's the 5. I'm trying to find the 3rd scale degree, -1 to major like a normal person. So 5 plus 2 modal whole steps would be 7. So I'm looking for the 7. That would be up here. It's a different distance away because now we're looking at the major 7 because we know that the first modal whole step, which is 1 times 2, second modal half step plus 1, 3rd scale degree, has a distance from a major node like the Mixolydian node number 5 of 11 notes away, not 10 notes away. So it would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Repeats, then starts over. If I want local distances, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 note away. That means I can smear into it by going from the minor to the major if I'm thinking about it this way. What about the 5th scale degree? 5 minus 1 is 4 modal whole steps if I major like a normal person. So we say 5 plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm sorry, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, because we don't go past 7. So that would be nodal point numero dos. So that would be the Dorian, dude. Dorian, the dishes are done, dude. Dorian did the dishes, dude. Okay. So then we're going to say the 7 minus 1 is 6. If I want to find the 7th, 6 modal half steps up, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nodal point numero cuatro. Now, obviously, we can also say, well, if I'm going the 7th up, which is 6 modal half steps up, it would be 5 minus 1, or 4, because I could go 1 backwards or in the counterclockwise direction. Because if there's only 7 notes, and I'm going around the block, because it's a lap, then I could go 6 forward or 7 minus 6, 1 backwards, right? All right. So that means that that's the 3rd modal half step up. 3 times 2 would be, 3rd modal whole step. 3 times 2 would be 6 modal half steps. Plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree. We know that the 7th scale degree from a major node usually is 11 notes away. But no, this is a minor distance because it's from the Mixolydian, which is cool. It's down with the minors. So we're going to say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 note away, minor 7. What's the difference between looking at it this way, Mixolydian, with where we have a major 3rd that we're going to smear into, going from outside into, and the minor? Well, they're all the same because now you fixed the 3rd. And the 7 isn't a problem because you have a minor 7 in both. From a distance standpoint, you have a 6 note away minor 7 from Mixolydian and a 6 note away minor 7 from an Aeolian. It's the 6th that's the difference, right? So which is the equivalent to the 13 from a chord construction. So if you're looking at the 6th, 6 minus 1 is 5 modal half steps up. And then 5 modal half steps up, so 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. So we're looking for a nodal point. Numero tres is here, and it should have a distance from a major node of 9 notes away as opposed to 8 notes away from the minor node. So it should be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that has a 9 note away distance. So that's a little bit weird because it's the compound one. So if we're trying to say it's the 13th scale degree, which is kind of equivalent to the local distance of the 6th scale degree, we can say that from a normal chord stacking convention, it would be the 6th modal whole step, which would be the 12 modal half step. But if we want the local distance modal half steps, it would be 12 minus 7. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which would be the fifth modal half step up, right? Fifth modal half step up, which would be the sixth scale degree, or if it was the 12th modal half step up, which would be an octave up, the 13th scale degree. Okay, I'm trying to get that straight in my own mind because it gets a little wonky when you get an octave up and you're trying to think about modal whole steps and modal half steps chord construction versus just half step construction versus just half step note names versus the retarded scale degree system. So let's see. So this is the octave. Let's note the octave. Not as familiar with this shape, this collection. So there's the octave. That's a good anchoring point. Octaves here. Major third. And I still have the major second. That's like the same as it was with the second collection of notes, Aeolian, not the same from the Phrygian. That's why I didn't mark it with red this time. That's the another smear third up top, a smear third up top. All right. All right. So now I think I need to do I want to do the same thing with the bottom one now. The bottom string, let's just think about it, which I don't know quite as well. My head's kind of tired. My head's kind of tired. Oh my goodness, there's a huge daddy long legs crawling down. That's kind of distracting. Just stay still. I'm trying to work here. Oh my, I need to get it. I need to get it. No, I'm going to let it go. I will deal with you later. I'm going to say, now we have, what if I try the third? The third from 3 minus 1 is 2. So it's going to be 2 modal half steps up, 3, 4, 5. So it's nodal point number 5. So if I'm on the bottom string, it's out here to get to the minor third, which should be 3 notes up because it's a minor third. So it's the first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree, which has a distance from a minor node of 3 instead of 4, but I'm going above it this time, so I have to go to the negative distance. So 12 minus 3 is 12 minus 3 is 8. So there'd be 5 notes between the string, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, negative 0, back down to 0, and then to 12 as I go around the horn, 12, 11, 10, 9. So 9 notes away, 12 minus 9 is 3. Okay, so that makes sense. And I can smear that one this way. Let's get the smear going the right way this time. This way. So if I was down here, that's nodal point number 8. So I have to... fingers. Is that right? I think it is. That's what I'll do tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe. Well, tomorrow's getting... I don't know if I'll do anything tomorrow. We'll see. Just drink eggnog or something.